Grazie a voi, grazie alle associazioni che con me hanno avuto modo di incontrare il commissario Sefcovic e la delegazione che lo ha accompagnato, fatta da italiani che lavorano all'interno della commissione ma che hanno ovviamente conoscenza, sensibilità naturale di quelle che sono le dinamiche interne. È un confronto aperto, è un confronto che però già nell'approccio ha rilevato la volontà di rendere l'Europa più credibile e lavorare a fianco del commissario Sefcovic per diverse questioni. La prima, garantire nei mercati internazionali la tenuta dell'export europeo, in quest'ambito ovviamente per quanto ci riguarda dell'export italiano. Abbiamo trattato le vicende legate al sistema tariffario a livello mondiale. L'Europa ha chiuso un accordo con gli Stati Uniti che, confrontato con altri accordi di carattere internazionale, non ci vede su questo particolarmente penalizzati. Abbiamo però avuto modo sempre di ribadire come noi non riteniamo un sistema tariffario con gli Stati Uniti di qualsiasi genere conveniente, sia per noi che per gli Stati Uniti stessi, e quindi auspichiamo che nel tempo si riesca a lavorare per rimuovere il sistema tariffario portandolo a zero. Nel frattempo, oggi, però, bisogna lavorare per quanto ci riguarda, e da questo punto di vista abbiamo avuto l'impegno del commissario a rimuovere alcune questioni che incidono su alcune nostre produzioni, con particolare riferimento all'aumento dei dazi sui formaggi, in particolare il pecorino romano, sull'olio d'oliva, sull'aceto, le vicende legate alla pasta, che sono ovviamente delle vicende che riguardano un sistema sanzionatorio anti-dumping che nulla c'entra con l'accordo di carattere commerciale, ma che oggi vede l'Unione Europea sostenere la posizione italiana rispetto alla vicenda stessa, arrivando ad eliminare questa procedura che porterebbe dei dazi insostenibili sulla pasta del 107%. Abbiamo trattato la vicenda del Mercosur. L'Italia è stata decisiva nell'approccio alla modifica. Quello che era il trattato già un anno fa, il commissario ci ha confermato questo ruolo. Non abbiamo mai assunto una posizione pregiudizievole rispetto all'accordo di libero scambio, ma non intendiamo lasciare indietro nessuno. Sappiamo che nel complesso il Mercosur per l'economia nazionale ed europea è un vantaggio, apre nuovi mercati. È evidente che alcuni settori potrebbero essere penalizzati. Abbiamo quindi chiesto che ad aggiungersi a quello già ottenuto, cioè una previsione del QFP di oltre 6 miliardi a garanzia dei settori che possono subire delle criticità, vi sia, e accanto alla vicenda del freno a mano, considerato il termine che identifica un'eventuale diminuzione del valore di una produzione europea o addirittura un crollo dei prezzi in una singola nazione, che azzeri in tempi rapidissimi, 25 giorni, il sistema tariffario previsto dal Mercosur, riportandolo ab origine come forma di protezione tariffaria. Abbiamo trattato però il terzo argomento, quello della reciprocità, argomento per noi essenziale. Ciò che imponiamo ai nostri imprenditori in termini di fitofarmaci, di vicende legate alla cura e al benessere animale, non può essere ignorato dai paesi che vogliono importare in Europa, abbattendo i costi di produzione in modo naturale e facendo concorrenza alle nostre produzioni. Su questo abbiamo avuto degli impegni che immagino il commissario avrà modo di ribadire anche qui. Abbiamo trattato anche degli accordi che devono arrivare. L'Italia vuole lavorare in fase ascendente, che tradotto significa prevenire i problemi che emergono spesso dopo la redazione delle bozze dei trattati o di direttive che possano incidere sui nostri sistemi. Lavorare prima, e su questo ringrazio ancora il commissario Sefcovic perché il tavolo resta aperto. Ieri ha avuto modo di parlarne con la Presidente del Consiglio in particolare, ha avuto modo di parlarne con altri colleghi, il collega Urso, poi ne parlerà con il collega Tajani. Il nostro governo però è coeso e compatto su un'impostazione di rafforzamento dell'Europa che preveda il rafforzamento delle sue economie, che preveda il rafforzamento, per quanto ci riguarda, del nostro potenziale di sviluppo, che per l'Europa è indispensabile e ovviamente è indispensabile anche per noi. Grazie ancora per la visita, grazie per quello che finora avrà fatto e soprattutto grazie per quello che avrà modo di fare da qui a qui.
Grazie mille, dear Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, I really would like to thank Italy for, as always, being excellent host today. We had a very important meeting with the Prime Minister Meloni, and we focused on the same priorities as we did this morning with Minister Lollobrigida. And I would like to thank you, the Minister, for excellent forward-looking exchange between two of us, between our delegations, but especially for inviting the key stakeholders from the agri-food business to this meeting so we can have this direct exchange, and it gave the possibility to our delegation from the Commission and to me personally to exchange directly, listen to the concerns, and also to respond to many questions that have been rightly putting on the table. I think that first and foremost, we have to congratulate Italy for becoming the fourth largest exporter in 2024, which is absolutely extraordinary feat for Italian economy to show how resilient you are, how diverse your economy is, that you can export everything from luxury products to machinery to high quality agri-food products for which all of us Europeans are very, very proud. And we found them in every corner, in every shop across the planet, and it's truly remarkable. And therefore, I was so happy that I could present my gratitude for this achievement to Italian producers and assure them that our common goal, Italian government and the European Commission, is to make sure that this will just enhance like that in the future. Of course, we spent most of the time discussing EU-Mercosur partnership, but we also discussed in greater detail our relationship with the United States of America, and I will come to the conclusion of my introductory remarks. I think that what is very important to highlight if it comes to the partnership with Mercosur, that already now this is very important export destination for Italian exporters. It's our 8th largest export market, generating already today 2 billion euros of surplus. And of course, this position is driven in particular by export of agri-food products. And I was explaining together with my colleagues in greater detail how the EU-Mercosur agreement will build on this success by eliminating and reducing tariffs. Tariffs in these sectors in the Mercosur countries today are very, very high, and they will be gradually, in most of the cases, eliminated to very low levels or zero. What is also very important is that 57 Italian geographical indications, which are the most iconic products coming from Italy, will be now protected by this agreement. It means that it will be protected by international law. So there will be no contrafacts, there will be no copycat products produced in this country, because your iconic products will be protected by this agreement. And I was demonstrating it on the example of exports to Canada, and I was joking with the minister that when I saw the figure yesterday, I saw that there is a decimal point missing, because your exports to Canada, of course, Italian mozzarella, since the free trade agreement was signed, grew by 1,300%. 1,300%. That's the potential of your products, of your high quality merchandise, and also of the high standing of the quality of your agri-food production around the world. I would like also to express my gratitude to the Prime Minister and the ministers for being very clear what they need to improve in the agreement, And we very much benefited from our exchanges, the representative and stakeholders of agri-food business in Italy. And I would like to reassure you that we not only listened, but we heard what the messages coming from Italy have been. And therefore, I can also reassure you that the agreement we are putting on the table today is very much different. The agreement which was there a year ago. And I think that the changes, which are going exactly in the direction as Minister Lollobrigida explained just a few minutes ago, are going exactly in that direction with additional and much improved flanking measures. So what we are doing? We are putting in place strong measures to protect EU and Italian farmers thanks to strict import quotas and for the first time regulation detailing how the safeguards in the agreement will be implemented. We never did anything like that, but we know that it's important for Italy, we know it's important for Italian farmers, so we are putting on the table the strongest legislative act we have at our disposal, European regulation, to make sure that we will have the legal obligation to start the official investigation in the case when there will be sudden increase of the imports in sensitive commodities from Mercosur by 10%, or sudden decrease in price in this sensitive commodities in European markets. And there are very strict deadlines which I explained to the stakeholders that we have to act literally within days to make sure that no damage is created to agri-food business across the European Union. On top of that, additionally, the EU food safety and environmental standards will not be compromised, while we will monitor them on the ground. It means European inspectors, European veterinarians will do audit in the export enterprises in the countries of Mercosur to make sure that the level playing field will be respected. This would, of course, include increased audits of sanitary and phytosanitary rules, as I said, on the ground in Mercosur countries, but we are also going to increase the checks and controls when the products will come to Europe in the ports and in all the facilities which are responsible for the checks and controls. So it means that these controls will be much more efficient than in the past. In addition, we are also putting forward a unity safety net. This is financial instrument worth 6.3 billion euros as a part of the European Union's next 7-year multi-annual financial framework, which is our cryptic name for the next 7 years budget, to act as an insurance policy in the unlikely event of agreement having a harmful impact on the EU market. So if you see, thanks to the very intense exchange of views with the minister, the prime minister, there is multi-layer safeguard system which would protect the agri-food business farmers in Italy, in Europe, and open the huge possibilities for exports to the very dynamic parts of the world. I also would like to thank the minister and the stakeholders for highlighting how important the issue of reciprocity is for Italian producers. And again, I was very glad that I could reassure my Italian friends that between now and the end of this year, we will work even harder to set in motion initiatives on animal welfare, on pesticides, to make sure that the imports to Europe will respect the same production standards as domestic production. And as a final point, if you allow the minister, we also discussed our relationship with the United States of America. And here I also would like to assure you, as I assured our partners a while ago, that we clearly heard the concerns presented to us in Italy about the deal we have agreed. I'm very thankful to all of the speakers highlighting how important it was to avoid the trade war in the US, how important it was to de-escalate the tension in our trade relations, and how important it is to work on additional sectors, because we know how important wine exports, agri-food exports from Italy to the US are important for Italian producers. And we also discuss the issue of pasta directly with the counterparts. For us, the 107% is clearly something which is not acceptable, and we will be working very closely with the Italian government, with the concert companies to provide our American partners with the detailed explanations, detailed evidence, because we believe that this decision, as it was reached, was not based on the true facts and figures, and we are doing our utmost to present this to them. And I was already raising this issue in my phone call with the Secretary of Commerce, Latnik, a couple of days ago. So if you allow me, dear Minister, in conclusion, I really would like to emphasize that in this rapidly changing world, agreements with additional partners, opening new market access for our entrepreneurs, for our agri-food business, for our machinery exporters, be it in Southeast Asia, be it in Latin America, be it in Africa, are very important, because we need to diversify our opportunities, and through this also to improve the resilience of our economy. And at the same time, I know that we in Europe, we know how to do it in a way that we will still remain open, still remain competitive economy, and we will still remain connected to our three key global partners, and that we will remain to be predictable, to be stable, and to be fair to our free trade agreement partners. And therefore there is such a renewed interest in having the new deals with us. And therefore we are working very, very hard to make sure that we create the best possible opportunities and conditions for our businesses in Europe, and for the position of the global trading market. So once again, dear Minister, thank you very much for this opportunity, and I appreciate the exchange with you. Thank you.
Signor Ministro, ci sono domande?
Commissioner, good morning. Agence France Presse. Besides showing, as you said, besides showing the Americans that the data on which they've decided these additional tariffs on pasta, Italian pasta, are wrong, can you tell us what concrete measures the Commission is prepared to do to support Italian pasta in light of these tariffs? And if I may, since the order of the day is rare earth metals in Brussels, can you tell us if your understanding is that the 1-year suspension that we heard about from the Americans yesterday also would apply to Europe?
You're talking about
rare earth metals,
okay.
The suspension on that,
Yes.
Those restrictions.
Chiedo anche a Giorgio della Reppi, c'è 24 ore.
Volevo tornare sulla reciprocità. Sì, yes. Sul tema della reciprocità, lei già ne ha parlato. È chiaro che assicurare condizioni uguali per competere sui mercati spetta innanzitutto lo strumento ideale sono gli accordi internazionali, quello col Mercosur, no? Ne ha parlato Draghi, sicuramente si lavorerà per questo, però nell'attesa che si facciano dei passi avanti negli accordi internazionali, lei ha parlato anche del fatto che deve essere un accordo all'interno dell'Europa per evitare di importare prodotti vietati, poi passaggio successivo è quello là di rafforzare i controlli, no? Non basta semplicemente strategia, occorre anche che ci siano maggiori controlli alle frontiere. Volevo chiedere se questa deve essere la nostra.
Mr. Commissioner, please. Thank you very much. First, the question from our colleagues from Agence France Press. If it comes to PASTA, as you know, there are certain steps in the anti-dumping investigation. This was a very surprising move from United States towards European Union, towards pasta producers, but at the same time, I know that this was on the table for quite some time. What we hear from US, but of course we are verifying it, is that they didn't have the proper or enough detailed information from some producers of pasta in Italy. So what we are doing currently right now is in a close collaboration with the Italian government, the producers, to provide all these detailed informations and negotiating on this issue with American partners, and the Italian government has a full support of our Director General for Trade and our experts, and we are working on this issue and we'll be collaborating until the end, and I hope that in the end we will have the best results. I already informed about this, as I said, my colleague Secretary of Commerce, and I know that also Prime Minister is very much active on this issue as well. So it's really one of our priorities. If it comes to the rare earth, I can tell you that we had a lot of coordinating phone calls with our American partners. Yesterday, I spoke with Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent and Jameson Greer, who've been part of these negotiations, and we agreed that the best step forward would be to postpone this whole new system that China is proposing to introduce at least by 1 year, because we have not very positive experience with the issuing of export licenses for the rare earths, which was introduced by China in April. Our statistics, which I presented to the Chinese Trade Minister Wang Wenkao last week, is that we only got 50% of our application properly processed. For me, properly processed means that our companies get the rare earth, not if the application is somewhere pending in a system, because it has direct implication of the production capacities of the companies in the EU. So we are having now the high-level official talks, export controls between China and the European Union. I will speak again with my Chinese counterpart very soon, based on the results of the meeting of the high official meeting. And of course, my understanding is that that agreement which was found between US and China in this matter is erga omnes, so we should apply to all, and of course, including European Union. To the question of the gentleman on reciprocity, I'd like to assure you that already now we have the most extensive control of this planet. Very often we are even criticized for that we are so strict in controlling the sanitary and phytosanitary standards, because before you can export any agricultural product to the European Union, especially if you're talking about any kind of meat, that company, that installation which wants to export to the EU must be at first properly audited by the European experts, by the European veterinarians, and this is regularly checked and controlled. Nobody has stricter controls on the SPS standards than the European Union, but we know that this is a special concern of Italians, of Europeans. So in the case of Mercosur, we are going to double our efforts on the inspections on the site, on checks in the ports, and I'm also responsible for the reform of the customs union in the European Union. So we are going to have one digital system among all the EU customs services. So we would also close the loopholes that if, let's say, one country is checking it more forcefully than others, so you might have some kind of soft spots. They're going to get rid of it because we will have a common system, and if somebody cheats, they will be caught. They will be apprehended, and, they will be put into the system, and they will lose the access to the European market. So this is what we are doing right now. We are going to further enhance it. And if it comes to reciprocity, if you allow me to do a bit of a promotion for my colleague, Agriculture Commissioner Hansen, who has excellent relationship with the Minister Lollobrigida, he presented the whole host of measures and the strategic vision for the agriculture, where we are focusing also on level of pesticides, the issues of animal welfare. Currently, we are consulting all the stakeholders in the European Union what they believe should be done better in that regard. This will be completed by the end of the year, and after that we will come up with the conclusions.
Thank you.